Hello, welcome back to Pommyinoz. I hope we're all doing really well. We are on the road to 1K. Sounds amazing saying that. So if you are new around here, please drop a like, please drop a subscribe. It does mean the world to me. It really does help me out. And it just means that, you know, I'm not just talking to a camera for bants. So what we're doing today is we are on the, well, I wouldn't say eve, but I'm going to say the eve of the girls joining us in the AFLW. They're going to restart their season. We finally survived the barren spell of no football. And it's super exciting. It's going to be another great year. I'm expecting to see a lot more improvement as they get progressively closer to the AFL. And we're going to have two super comps. We already have a superb AFLW comp. The girls are getting better fast, and I'm super excited about seeing another instalment of the AFLW. So we're going to do a little bit of a little bit of a team review, bit of a preview for the season, give some predictions, so we've got something to go back to and have a bit of a giggle at towards the end of the year. So let's have a look then. So first off, we've got the Crows. Now last season they finished 6th in Conference A, 11th overall with 2 wins, 4 losses, and in a hit year for COVID, as we know. Now, massive injuries last year, but this year you're going to get Erin Phillips back, return to full fitness, and will complement that star-studded midfield. You know, you've got the contested specialist of Ebony Marinoff, you've got Anne Hatchard looking to get them going, looking to get that ball fed to the outside runners. They're strong down the back as well. You've got the likes of Sarah Allen, and the vision and interceptability of Randall, their captain, who will really lead them from the back and get them going forward, hopefully for their 3rd flag. I'm going to have them in the 4th position. I think they'll finish 4th. I think it'll be a strong season for Adelaide. Exciting side to watch though. Really exciting. Next up we've got Old Brisbane. Now last year they finished 3rd in Conference A. That was 7th overall with 3 wins, 2 losses, and you know, that ceremonial draw. Now they were strong throughout the year, but them 3 games just towards the end of the year really left a sour taste in the mouth and kind of left me personally as a neutral watching them wanting more. They'll be confident though, I think, moving into this year that their best is really good enough to match it with any of the top sides in the competition. And they've got a really stable list. That list hasn't changed so much. They've added Farquharson, who is an athletic beast, really agile, really talented across the lines, as well as a whole list. They really hope to lead the charge, I think, and they'll be looking at players like Farquharson to really add that energy, add that zip, add that X factor that I think they were lacking in them games, particularly they lost last year. They'll be hoping to go to another final series and hopefully, you know, go one better. My season prediction though, I have them struggling. I think they'll finish 12th. It is what it is, as they say. Next up, my beloved Blue Girls. I can't get enough of them. Now, last season, as we know, they finished 2nd in Conference B, 3rd overall, 5 wins, 1 loss. And yeah, COVID robbed us. It was the form team, I thought. I really did. And I think they've got the comp's best players in every line. What is beautiful about the Carlton girls side is they've built a young list and it's grown. It's grown. It's a very organic way of building a list. And it's got a heap of talent, and every year they have a progressive trade and draft strategy that sees them add something dynamic. This year we saw Maddie Guerin come in, and then you've also got the tall complements in Charlotte Hammonds. And for me, O'Day is huge. O'Day, who replaces the outgoing Sarah Hoskins, as we know. It's got depth, it's got skill. I think Hammonds and Taylor up top is going to be tough. I think the dynamic speed of Maddie Guerin, then to complement when you've got players like G, Egan, Wilson, there is stacks of talent. You've got Brooke Walker, you've got talent across the lines, Darcy Vessier. It's a tough side to beat. And then if you look down back as well, you've got to get past, you know, the all-Australian talent of Harrington and Pound. It's a tough one to match up on. I think it's the team to beat, and I'm going to predict that we win the flag and we finish number 1 in the country, and I think that will be a deserved. We've got the best player in the comp. It's a solid list as well, and they play a brand of football under Harford. It's good to watch. Pies up next. Now, last season they finished 4th in Conference B, 5th overall, 4 wins, 2 losses. Now, they made the finals last year, and what I think is very similar to Carlton in this, they've built from the ground up, and I think they're, to me, on the precipice of building a rivalry, Carlton and Collingwood, that's going to really carry this competition to the next level. And they've done very Carlton things, they've built from the ground up. You've got Davey, who's joining the captaincy group, and she'll really complement Steph as a general around the ground. We know what Davey did for Carlton. She's going to do it for them. She's a general around the ground, and adds some grunt in the midfield with Tani Brown, who will be a tough matchup, I think, for anyone in the competition. Very versatile. They have a plethora of mids, and they have real strong depth in all the lines. It's going to be a really exciting matchup for them. I think this season they'll finish 5th, but I think they're going to surprise people in the finals. Very solid side, very tough side to beat, and I think that 5th could be a bit higher. I might have undersold them, but good list, very solid list. Fremantle girls. Now, last season they were number 1 in the country, 7 wins, 0 losses. Now, 2020 was heartbreaking when it was cut short, because I thought the final that everyone wanted to see was Carlton go up against Fremantle. I thought it's 2 super sides, 2 young teams. You've got Bowers, Miller and Antonio. They're a formidable trio of players going up against the best that Carlton has to offer. It has X Factor like Carlton's list throughout its lines. It did lose a couple of cods last year in Bresland and Flood, but they've picked up some very skillful players in the draft period. They have a very tough draw, but nothing that these girls, in my opinion, can't overcome. I think they'll finish 2nd in the ladder. I think they're going to be a very tough side to beat. Geelong Cats. Now, last season they finished 5th in Conference A. That's 10th overall, 2 wins and 4 losses. Now, it's really been the slow burn for the Cat girls, and I think they're doing it the right way. They're building a list that will compete in the future, and they're doing it slowly but steady, and they'll definitely get an injection of excitement from Nina Morrison returning. She is a superstar in every sense of the word, and has the ability to really catapult them kind of from mid-table obscurity. McDonald takes charge of the girls as the captain on the field for the first time, and then when you add the likes of Maloney, Gardner, Barber all coming in through the draft, 3 superstars in the making, really should help them rise from mid-tier to that upper echelon of our beautiful game. I've got the girls this year finishing 9th. I think it's going to be another embedding year, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them break out. Now, Gold Coast. Gold Coast girls, last season 4th in Conference A, 8th overall with 2 wins, 3 losses and 1 draw. Now, many thought they'd struggle in year 1, as most franchises do, no matter what sport you watch in their first year. But they were the real surprise packet, and it's a real feel-good story. They play a real devil-may-care attitude towards football. They don't respect the senior sides. They play their way, and I think that's commendable. They really did get the jump on teams as well, because it's such an expansive game plan and people weren't expecting it. I thought Howard was sensational last year. She's really surrounded by good young talent. You've got Bradfield, she's coming in, and she's a potential inside-out, hands-on footballer who's really going to give them a little bit of grit in an otherwise classy outfit. I think 2020 gave them a taste of finals, and it's only going to make them hungrier. I think this young bench side now has a real big benchmark, and I'm going to see them finishing 8th this year. I think they'll cement this year. I think it's going to be a lot tougher this year as well, so I think last year you can't really compare ladder positions. GWS. Now, last year, as we know, they finished 4th in Conference B. That's 6th overall, 4 wins and 2 losses. They really did have an interrupted season, and it continued, obviously relocating to Albury in their pre-season, and it's really going to test their resilience of this group. But they are a tough outfit. These girls are made of stern stuff, and there is talent around the ground. Now, the problem is, it's their potency in front of the sticks. 26 goals for 45 behinds in the league last year, where scoring is improving year on year at a very good rate, and it's becoming a very competitive league. And can they improve that? They're going to need to, because sides now can score in chains. But if they can implement that scoreboard pressure, it's going to be tough to beat them. It's going to be tough to beat them. I've got them finishing 6th this year in the ladder, and I think that's probably a fair assessment. It's kind of a let's wait and see. I'm on the fence. You don't often see Pom on the fence. Then we got the Demons, Melbourne, finished 3rd in Conference B, 4th overall. That's 4 wins and 2 losses. And there'll be another side that probably lamented the early stop to the season and the interruptions. They have an uncanny knack of getting there and getting the job done. One big question mark last year was age profile. They've hit the draft very hard this year and they've addressed it. Branna was their big get, and she'll be ready to go from round 1. Her skill set is ready-made to be a thorn in the side of any key position back woman in this competition. She's agile, she's mobile, she's good in the air, she's got the skill set. For any back woman that faces her, it's going to be a tough ask. Then you've got McNamara, Fitzsimmons and Karras. They all add some youth and something to pin your hat on and get excited about. They've all got skill sets that are going to complement their game plan. It's a much needed reset. I think they'll finish 11th, but they'll be competitive, no doubt. I think they'll finish 11th though this year. The Kangas, eh? North Melbourne. Now North Melbourne, the perennial teams that are just really tough to beat. Last season, top of the ladder in Conference A, 2nd overall with just the 1 loss and 5 wins. And they're fearsome. You've got Garner, you've got Kearney, you've got Riddle, you've got Brutton. All like a brick wall of dominance. And only a couple of sides, I think, in this comp, like your Fremantles and your Carltons, can step up. They've made some room changes though. Gowans departs and Crocker comes in. They've also added Campbell in the off-season. That really does complement an already stacked midfield. Hammond looks like a real go-getter in the forward positions and gives them a different outlet in that forward 50. It's interesting though, I always think changes how they affect sides. We know Crocker comes through the system. I'm going to have them 3rd this year in the ladder, but they will be a very tough side to beat. Richmond Tigers. These are a side that I want to do well. I want the rivalries there in the AFLW like we have in the men. I want that traditional rivalry. I think the wonderful thing is this is a new comp. It's a comp we want, but we want that tradition as well because people buy into it. And I like the Richmond Tigers girls side. As we know last year, the bottom side, 0 wins, 6 losses, and it's weird to talk about Richmond in the aesthetic that they're pants. But I don't think it's a fair assessment of where they are as a list. They had some phenomenal recruitment in the off-season. You had Dargan, Darcy, Sarah Hoskin as well, joining along with Codnea to really bolster the young girls. I think Tessa Levy is a mercurial player and she adds some steadiness which I think they get a little bit twitchy. The new coach comes in, you've got the number 1 pick in Mackenzie, who is an absolute superstar. Then when you've got players like Monique Conte as well, who is an absolute game changer. I think Conte and Hoskin working together, it's going to be tough to play against, because Conte in particular, absolute jet of a footballer. Real underrated, doesn't get enough kudos. One of them underrated players that just goes under the radar. I've got them finishing 13th. It'll be an improvement of last year, and I think you're going to start to see them in bed. And I think as this side in beds, they're going to be fearsome. The Saints, the St Kilda girls. I enjoy watching these girls play. As you know, my wife is a huge St Kilda fan, so it's always good, you know, to have kind of have like one eye on someone else. It kind of distracts me and it's good. Finished 5th in Conference B as we know last year. That's 9th overall. That's 2 wins and 4 losses. And they're another side that really did face adversity last year. First year in the comp. Injuries galore as well, but they show a lot of heart, and it's interesting. The St Kilda Football Club is heart, isn't it? You look at how the Saints men's team play, the Saints women's team kind of mirrors that. The chips are down, not fancied, but you know what? They'll get you. And Petrakios and Griesner are 2 top talents. For me, 2 of the top talents in the AFL. And we've got the G-Train, as you know, she is a phenomenal talent. And they're supported really ably by Vesely, Exon, Lucas Rod. They play together, and I think that's important in team sport. They play together and for each other. And I don't think it's a walk-in game against this. And they've recruited really well. You know, Van Dijk, former Carlton girl, really brings a bit of maturity, brings a good system into a young side. I know Jacobson is out injured, but again, a successful franchisee player who is going to really complement them. Smith at pick 6 is really potent. It's going to be a real handful in the middle of the park. It's a tough opening 3 rounds, but you know, nothing these girls can't handle. They get through that, they could fly. I've got them finishing 7th. I think they'll do very well, and it's another improvement. West Coast Eagles. Now last season they finished 7th in Conference B, that's 13th overall. They did get the 1 win, 5 losses, and it was a tough baptism of fire for the Eagles girls. They couldn't score, they got peppered in front of goal. Now, I do think that they got the deserved concessions from the AFLW, as Richmond did. I thought they used them superbly well, though. Aisling McCarthy is a superstar in every sense of the word. Absolute jet. Breslin, we talked about her earlier. She's really going to steady them down the back as well. She's an able, wise head down there. And they'll be 1 year wiser. The list looks a bit younger because it was shockingly old last year. And I think they're in a position to galvanise and grow. There's a good word. I think they'll finish 14th though. I've told them off and I put them 14th. But I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, because it's not nice finishing bottom. But they're a good list, and I think it's something to look forward to. The Doggies. Now, Doggies, whichever department you talk about the Dogs, they're always going to be there or thereabouts. They play a good brand. Now last year they finished 6th in Conference B, that's 12th overall, 1 win and 5 losses. Now this side rebuilded hard last year, and I think people forget that. And I think their bold strategy is going to start to bear fruits in 2021. It's a tough draw, and it's one that I think is going to help them. Huntington was amazing last year. She can intercept anything that comes within her sights, reads the ball early, and more importantly, she offers that transition ball, which is becoming really key in the girls' game. And anything that comes within her grasp, she's got covered. The rumours are she's going to swing up top forward, which I think is going to be an interesting proposition because she's a decent kick, and her ability just to read could really help her and really add a much needed problem in matchups. It'll cause havoc for the back lines. You've got Maddie's sister Georgie Persparkis joins, and she is a top jet. The mould of her sister there, along with a host of top youth coming through, and it's complemented, with players like the former pick number 1 and Gabby Newton. She will really help them go one better and really develop for the future. As for my predictions with the Doggies, I've got them finishing 10th. I think they'll do really well, and I think it's going to be another proof that the rebuild is working. They're my predictions for the girls. I'm super excited about it starting. We have footy back. Let me know what you think.